of you.
Yes.
So we're gonna actually do very standard practice today. So the thing, Erica talked a little bit about her doing her practice every day and how helpful that has been. Um, I went on my first yoga retreat workshop, like they called it retreat, workshop, vacation. Like they just had all these names compiled together for these yoga practitioners. They're like, you're just here, you're doing yoga. Some people were taking notes, some people were not. But the thing that we did every day, which was really helpful for me, is we did like 4 hours of practice and then we swam and we did practice and we swam and then we ate and we slept. So like for me, it was like fantastic. And it allowed me to sort of tune back into my own inner knowing, because I think this whole process for me in grieving has been trying to learn how to mother myself. Um, so the fact that three of you are like, oh, my left side, I'm very interested in. So today we're going to start actually standing. We're going to do a very simple standard practice. The focus is going to be on the breath, because one of the things that I'm attempting to learn is how to breathe and let go. The two teachers that were teaching this workshop, retreat, vacation, um, they were Iyengar teachers. So ironically enough, we had to hold everything far longer than I ever wanted to. But it was interesting to notice how the breath could move. So we're not going to do an Iyengar type practice, but we are going to focus a lot on the breath. So to get started, let's go ahead and make sure we've got 2 blocks and a blanket. And we are going to start standing at the top of our space. So whatever that is looking like for you, you are going to start standing at the very top of your space. And when you find yourself standing at the top of your space, I want you to first figure out what feels appropriate for you. Do you need to have your feet hip distance? Do you need to have them together or a little bit wider than hip distance? And you'll just know this by taking a moment to close the gaze down or close the eyes completely. And then maybe shift a little bit from right to left. And you'll find what feels like center for you, what feels like home. And then you might even go a little bit front to back. And again, you're trying to find what feels like center, what feels like home. And then once you feel like you can find your midline, both right to left and front to back, you'll go ahead and come to a sense of stillness, but it's not rigidity. And you're going to then send energy down from your pelvis through the legs, through the feet, and maybe even widen the feet, widen the toes a little bit so it feels like you really have a firm base. And then bring your awareness up to your shoulders. And I want you to draw your shoulders up towards your ears and hold them there in a very awkward feeling place. And then draw the shoulder blades back just a smidge and allow the shoulders to then slide down the back so the heart continues to remain open. And then allow yourself to really root down through the legs and lift up through the head. And then as we're here, we're just going to start to find your breath. Everything is going to be breath-based today. So as you breathe, I want you to breathe in, down, and wide. So you might lift the ribs, widen the ribs, and then breathe into the belly. And then every time you exhale, you'll root down through the legs and lift up through the spine. So the energy might go down and then rebound up. So we'll just take 3 more breaths like that, inhaling wide and down. And then exhaling, rooting down through the legs and lifting up through the spine. And you'll just do 1 more steady breath, just like that. On your next inhalation, we're going to start to add a little bit of movement. So as you inhale, the arms will start to reach out and to the sides. And then exhale and come down. And you're going to do 5 of these. And gradually the arms might start to reach a little bit higher up in space. But you're just following your own breath. Just an inhale, the arms widen out and potentially up. And then the exhale, the arms soften down and come back to your sides. And this will be our last one. Inhaling, the arms go out and up and possibly overhead. And then as you exhale, let's start to fold forward at our hips, Uttanasana, hands coming down to the floor or the blocks. And when you get down here, your hands might be on the floor, they might be on the blocks, but you're just going to let all of the weight shift. So seeing if you can shift the weight forward just a smidge, if you can allow the head to dangle. Yep. And you'll just start to breathe and notice how this feels here. At the end of your next exhalation, start to slide your hands up your thighs and then bend your knees to papa squat. So we're in this weird, awkward, almost chair-ish pose. Hands are on your thighs, arms are straight, and see if you can make your spine as long as possible. And you're just going to take 3 steady breaths here. So again, you're breathing wide into the ribs. And then exhaling, navel in, rooting through the feet, lifting up through the crown. And you'll just do 2 more breath cycles, just like that, long, steady breaths. Now for today, at the end of this next exhalation, you'll take a half a breath in, and then we're going to do 28 rounds of Kapalabhati breathing. So go ahead and exhale all the breath. Inhale halfway. And then when you're ready, you'll start to pump your belly back to your spine. So last 4, last 3, last 2, last 1. Next exhale, empty all the breath. Inhale here. As you exhale, push through the legs, stand up tall. Inhale, reach the arms out and up and overhead. And then exhale, fold forward at your hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Go ahead and inhale, halfway lift here. And then as you exhale, you'll bend your knees, plant your palms, and step yourself back to a downward facing dog shape. And you'll just take 3 breath cycles here, seeing if you can still keep that breath long and full. Long, steady, full breath. Nice work, guys. Go ahead and inhale, come forward into plank pose, and you'll just take another 3 breath cycles here. And you're just really focusing on pushing the floor away, lifting up through those inner armpits and lifting the back of your head away from the floor just slightly. Fantastic. On your next in-breath, shift your weight forward, and as you exhale, lower all the way down onto your abdomen. Once you touch the floor, extend the tops of the feet onto the floor. Press down into your toenails. Push your pubic bone down and lengthen your tailbone back, and then engage your legs, engage your glutes. Press down lightly through your hands and pull your heart and sternum forward to come up. And just breathe for a few breath cycles in your version of Cobra. And you can, this is early, this is your very first one. So you're just trying to awaken, finding a sense of breath even in this shape. The end of your next exhalation, lower all the way down. Slide your hands so they're underneath your shoulders. Curl the toes under. Inhale through hands and knees. And exhale back to downward facing dog. And you'll just take 3 breath cycles here. Just doing a standard Surya Namaskar A. And you're just paying attention to how this feels in your body. Push down through the hands and lift up through your armpits. Yep, and then see if you can lift your outer hips up just a smidge to, there you go, where the wall and the ceiling meets. Nice work. Take a breath in here, and then as you exhale, bend your knees and step to the top of your space. Nice work. Once you get to the top of your space, inhale, halfway lift, and then exhale, fold all the way in. Now bend your knees and inhale, roll all the way up the spine, letting your head be the last thing that comes to vertical. When your head is on top of your shoulders, take a moment to root down through the legs again, and then we'll inhale and reach the arms out and up and overhead. And then exhale, open the arms back and bring them down alongside your hips. Okay, slight variation. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up and overhead. And then exhale, we're going to let them come down alongside the hips once again. And this is our third and final time here. Inhale, arms go out and up and overhead. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward, Uttanasana, forward fold. Fantastic. Once you get down there, listen very closely. Take your right hand to your left ankle. Right hand to left ankle. Bring your left hand to the outside edge of your left shin. Now you're going to inhale and lift your spine forward. As you exhale, pull with the right hand, push with the left hand, pull the left low belly away from your left thigh, and you'll start to find your spine rotating to the left. And then you'll just see if you want to elongate through the head or if you want your head to drop down. But you're really pushing with that left hand, pulling with the right, scooping the belly and turning towards the left. Nice job. Very gently, you'll inhale and come back through center. Take a moment to just be in neutral and notice what you notice between the sides. And then as you're ready, we'll try that on the other side. So your left hand will come to your right ankle. Your right hand will come to your right shin. Inhale, lift your spine parallel-ish to the floor. And then exhale, you'll pull with your left hand, push with your right, scoop the low belly on the right, and rotate towards the right. Fantastic. And you just pause and you breathe. And then notice what changes if you move your head. There you go. On your next in-breath, gently release and come back through center. Fantastic. Inhale, halfway lift, and then exhale, fold all the way in. Now we're going to inhale, walk our hands up to the middle of our thighs, bend your knees and pop a squat once again in that weird, awkward chair pose. So we're going to do this a total of 4 times. So this is our second round. We're going to do 3 steady breath cycles here. And then we're going to do 28 rounds of Kapalabhati breathing. So we should have been talking for enough. So this should be our third exhalation here. And then on your next in-breath, you'll breathe in halfway. And then you'll exhale and do 28 rounds of Kapalabhati breathing. So when you're ready, begin. Once you've finished your 28 rounds, you'll exhale all the breath. You'll take a big breath in, and then exhale, straighten the legs, stand up tall. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up and overhead. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And as you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back, downward facing dog. This is your second down dog, and just take a moment to notice if anything feels a little bit different this time as opposed to the first time. Great. When you're ready, go ahead and inhale, come forward into plank pose, fallen Kasana. Take 3 breath cycles here. Again, you're engaging the legs. You're breathing steadily and deeply. So part of the ability to mother ourselves really goes with this ebb and flow of life, this welcoming, this receiving, as well as this letting go. That's all we're focusing on in the breath today. On your next in-breath, you'll shift your weight forward. As you exhale, lower through Chaturanga Dandasana all the way to the belly. Once you're there, extend the tops of the feet to the floor and then start to curl your heart forward and up. And you'll take about 2 to 3 breath cycles here, finding where you can breathe in a little bit more spaciousness into your low back and lift through the inner armpits. Nice. Exhale, gently lower all the way down. Inhale through hands and knees, and then exhale back to downward facing dog. And you'll just take 3 breath cycles here. And you're just noticing what you're noticing. How is the body in this moment? How is the breath moving through your body? How is the mind connecting with the breath? Nice work. At the end of your next exhalation, bend your knees. and then travel to the top of your space, however you wish to get there. Nice work. Once you're at the top of your space, inhale, halfway lift, and then exhale, fold all the way in. Inhale, bend your knees and roll up the spine bone by bone, really taking your time. When your head is on top, you'll take a moment to root down through the legs. Okay, adding on. Inhale, circle, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, open the arms down alongside your hips. Here's our new variation. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. As you exhale, grab your left wrist with your right hand. Inhale, lift up, and then exhale, little baby side bend to your right. Breathe into your left side body, root down into your left leg. You'll inhale, come back up through center, and exhale, both arms lower alongside your hips. Then we're going to do the other side. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up and overhead. Exhale, grab your right wrist with your left hand. Inhale, find more length, and then exhale, happy baby side bend to the left. And then inhale, finding length on your right side body. Exhaling, rooting into your right foot. Inhale, come back up through center. And then exhale, both arms open alongside your hips. Moving on. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms out and up and overhead. Exhale, cactus the arms and come down towards your feet. From there, you'll inhale and halfway lift. And then exhale, fold in. Here's our third time. Start to crawl your hands up your thighs, bend your knees, and pop a squat in that chair pose. Take 3 breath cycles here, finding a long spine from your tail to your crown, a deep sit in your knees as much as you are able. At the end of your third exhalation, you'll take a half breath in, so like filling half capacity, and then you'll do 28 rounds of Kapalabhati breathing. So when you're ready, you will begin. Halfway full, and then begin. Once you're complete, exhale all the breath. Take a big breath in. Next exhalation, push through the feet, straighten the legs, stand up tall. Inhale, circle, sweep the arms up and overhead. And then exhale, cactus the arms, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back, downward facing dog. Take a breath cycle here. Then when you're ready, you'll inhale, shift forward into plank. Exhale, lower through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale through your cobra or your up dog. And then exhale back to your downward facing dog. And we want to continue to cultivate a long, steady, full breath. And so when you find yourself back in downward facing dog, see if you can still hear your breath and if you can still regulate and even the breath. Nice work. The end of your next exhalation, go ahead and bend your knees. And then you'll step or float top of space. Nice job. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, fold in Uttanasana. Inhale, bend your knees and slowly roll up the spine bone by bone. Head is the last thing to stand on top. Once you're there, we'll go ahead and inhale, circle, sweep the arms up and overhead. And then exhale, hands back alongside your hips. Now this variation, we're going to go ahead and interlace our hands at the webbing and bring our hands behind us if we haven't already. And then from there, inhale, lift up through the armpit, chest, the upper rib cage. Maybe the gaze goes up. Exhale, hugging those shoulder blades back together. Next, in breath, see if you can breathe into the chest. And then as you exhale, root down through the feet. Take one more breath cycle here. And then as you're ready, you're going to exhale, scoop the belly and start to fold forward at your hips, hands behind you. Some of you will keep your hands close to your pelvis. Some of you will reach your arms up to the ceiling. And some of you will drip your hands over your head. But you're going to just take a few breath cycles here to let the head be super heavy, to start to notice what's happening in the breath. Fantastic. Those of you with your hands anywhere but your butt, everyone bring your hands to your butt. Slide the hands down the legs, and then inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold all the way in. Last round, slide your hands up your thighs, bend your knees, and pop a squat. Take 3 breath cycles here just to stabilize. This is our final round of Kapalabhati. We've been trying to work up to 108, which is supposedly the best number of Kapalabhatis to do. Awesome. So after you've done 3 breath cycles, you are going to take a half breath in and then do 28 rounds of Kapalabhati. So here we go. After your last exhalation, exhale everything out and take a big breath in. Exhale, stand tall, rooting through the feet. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. And then exhale, cactus, the arms hinge at the hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. From here, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back, plank pose or chaturanga dandasana. Inhale through up dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. And now when you find yourself in this down dog, I would encourage you to take a few moments to move and explore. We breathe so that we can breathe, so that we can get things moving. And sometimes it helps to have a little bit of external movement to help with that. And sometimes it helps to be still. And only you can know that in this moment. So maybe try both. Nice. All right, we're going to add on now. Inhale, gaze to the top of your space. Exhale, bend the knees, empty the belly, step or float, top of mat. Nice. From there, inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, folding. Inhale, bend your knees and roll up the spine, bone by bone, vertebra by vertebra. Once you find your head on top of your spine, you'll inhale and circle, sweep the arms up and overhead. And then exhale, allow the arms to settle. Take a moment to just stand here, soften the gaze or close the eyes. And again, come back to your feet. So notice what it feels like. Is your weight centered or is it more to the right, more to the left, more to the front, more to the back? Everything is always a chance for us to recalibrate back to home, back to center. And it's just a matter of whether or not we choose to see it that way. All right, if your gaze is closed, gently open your eyes. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, cactus the arms, hinge at the hips, forward fold. This time we'll inhale and halfway lift. You'll exhale and fold in. Keep your fingertips on the floor. Inhale, bend your knees, and then sweep your arms forward for Utkatasana, chair pose. So we've had 4 times of sitting in this shape, so now it should be a little bit easier. And again, you're just going to take 3 steady breaths. Feel what it feels like to sit low in the hips, to reach up through the arms. At the end of your next exhalation, hands come through heart center, fold forward at your hips, plant the palms. Inhale, halfway lift, and then exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, and step back to your downward facing dog. Great. From down dog, take a big breath in. As you exhale, draw your left knee to your nose. Plant your left foot between your hands. Now, from there, spin your right foot down to the floor. You might bring your hands onto the blocks if that feels like that would help bring the floor closer to you. And then you'll root down through the feet and inhale, come up for Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Fantastic. And when you find yourself in your Warrior 1, you can take your arms out of the equation if that helps you find your feet. So bring your hands to your hips. And I want you to first pay attention to your front foot. We can see that foot. So make sure all 5 toes are spread and they're rooting down into the floor. And then you'll guide that outer left hip down and back as you push your left sit bone down towards your left heel. Now bring your awareness to your back foot. I want you to lift your back pinky toe and see if you can spread it down into the mat just a little bit more. And then see if you can push down into your right heel and squeeze your right butt cheek to straighten your right leg a little bit more. And then that might find that you have more stretch happening on the front of your right hip. And then you'll reach your right arm forward and see if you can find forward enough and see if you can find a little bit more lift. And then bring your awareness to your chest and notice if your right chest is more happy than your left chest. And see if you can breathe breath into both sides. And then maybe you might reach both arms up and overhead. And then you'll just take 3 breath cycles here. And you're really paying attention to what it feels like to root down into your feet, to really find the weight of your pelvis, the lift of your ribs, the lift of your arms, and maybe even the lift of your gaze. Nice work. On your next exhalation, bring your hands down to frame the front foot. And then you'll step yourself back to downward facing dog. Your choice of whether or not you cycle through an up dog or cobra. You might choose to just stay here and breathe. You might find that the movement is what you need, but you'll take your movement based upon what you're needing. You're mothering yourself based upon what you need in this moment, and it can always change from side to side, and that's okay. All right, take a big breath in. As you exhale, right knee to nose, plant your right foot between your hands. Now spin your left foot to the floor, and maybe you need to walk your hands onto blocks to bring the floor closer to you. Once you feel established in your feet, you'll inhale and bring yourself up to Virabhadrasana 1. Nice work, guys. Okay, and then let's do the same thing that we did on this side. So let's take our arms out of the equation, hands to hips. Bring your awareness to your front foot. See if you can lift all 5 toes and spread them wide. And then you root down through that foot, and then you might be able to bend forward more through your right knee as you draw your outer right hip back. Root your right hip down to your right foot and feel that connection. And then bring your awareness to your left pinky toe. You might lift it and then spread it down onto the floor a little bit more. And then notice that you can root through the left heel, squeeze the left glute, and continue to internally rotate that left leg. Fantastic. Once we feel okay there, let's go ahead and sweep our left arm forward and up. And you'll just notice that maybe that intensifies the stretch from your left pinky finger through the left hip down to the left thigh and foot. And then pay attention, is your left shoulder higher than your right? And can you bring a bit of buoyancy and light in there? And then it might help to just lift your your right arm up. And we'll just take a few breath cycles here, continuing to root through the feet. So you're pushing the feet out, but at the same time hugging them together. You're allowing the pelvis to descend as the ribs lift, the shoulders lift, maybe even the gaze lifts. Fantastic. On your next exhale, hands come down to the floor, step back, downward facing dog. Cycle through or not, and we'll pause for a few breaths and all collect in downward facing dog. Nice. And then you're just really paying attention to your breath. The whole purpose of the practice today really is to follow the breath, find its ebb, find its flow. Okay. From down dog, take a big breath in. As you exhale, bend your knees, empty your belly, step or float top of space. Nice. Good job, guys. From there, inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, bend, exhale, fold, and inhale, bend the knees, roll up the spine bone by bone. Once your head is on top of your spine, you might continue that by inhaling and reaching the arms up and overhead. And then exhaling, arms down alongside your hips. Okay, this is a slight variation. Let's go ahead and inhale, sweep our arms up and overhead. As you exhale, fold forward at your hips. Take a moment to pause there with your fingers on the floor. Then inhale, reach your heart and sternum forward, and exhale, bend your knees. Inhale, sweep your arms forward for Utkatasana. This time you're going to draw your left arm underneath your right arm on top. You might give yourself a hug. You might double wrap the arms. Some of you will stay right here. Some of you will lift your left heel. Maybe you might lift your left thigh, cross your left leg over, and maybe tap your left toes to the floor on the right side of the mat. You might actually decide you want to wrap your left foot behind your right calf, and you'll just take a few breath cycles here, seeing if you can still find that calm, steady breath we had at the very beginning of practice. As you're ready, you'll release your left foot to the right. You'll unwind the arms, unwind the legs, stand tall. Fantastic. We'll do that on the other side. So inhale, circle sweep the arms. Exhale, fold forward at the hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Keep your fingers on the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, sit Utkatasana. Now this time your right arm comes underneath your left. You might give yourself a hug. You might double wrap the arms. Option to stay right here. Otherwise, you'll shift your weight to the left. Lift your right heel. You might lift your right thigh. You might tap your right toes to the left. You might wrap your right foot behind the back of your left calf. Wherever you are, make sure you're breathing. The inhale is as important as the exhale. The exhale is as important as the inhale. Then as you're ready, you'll gently release, drawing the right foot to the left, unwind the arms, and unwind the legs. Fantastic. Great. And if you need to shake it out, you shake it out. We're mothering ourselves, and every one of us has different needs, just as most of you are parents or have fur babies or nieces or nephews. So you know that the children are not always the same. Our plant babies are not always the same, and neither are we. All right, let's move on. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, cactus the arms, hinge at the hips, forward fold. From there, inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back, downward facing dog. Now just take a moment to check in here. How are your shoulders? Our hands are an extension of our heart, and our shoulders typically are also an extension of our heart. So just pay attention to what's happening in your shoulders. On your next inhalation, sweep your right leg up and back. Take a moment to feel what this feels like. Rooting through your left heel, reaching up through your right. Some of you will stay here. Some of you might bend your right knee and open and stack the right hip. Notice what that does to your left hamstring. Keep rooting down through both hands. Lift up more through your left shoulder. There you go. There you go, Roberta. Nice. Take a big breath in here, and then exhale, right knee to nose. Plant your foot between your hands. Pause. Maybe you bring your hands to your blocks at this point. Spin your back foot completely to the floor for Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2, and then come up for Warrior 2. Nice. And then take a moment. Are your legs wide enough front to back to allow your pelvis to descend? Check in with that front foot. How is the knee and the ankle aligned over that front foot? Yeah. Guide the outer right hip back, and at the same time, you push from your right sit bone down to your right heel. You might lift your left pinky toe up, that's the back one, and spread it wide into the floor to root the outer edge of the hip and the foot down. Now check in with your face. Is there any tension there? Check in with your fingers. Is there any unnecessary tension there? As you're ready, flip your front palm and reverse your warrior. And you're going to stay here for about 4 breath cycles. So I want you to notice, how does this become more of a side bend versus a back bend? As you're in this shape, notice how the breath is moving, especially in that compressed side. So if that's our left side, yeah, nice, Jenny. And you just pause and you breathe. And then notice if you can draw your head back a little bit. There you go, Erica. There you go, Julie. Nice, Laura. Nice, Robin. Nice work, guys. Nice, Roberta. Next inhale, come back. Good job, Steve. Good job, Jenny. And then exhale, cartwheel your hands down to the floor. Step yourself back, downward facing dog. And if you cycle through, no worries. If you don't, no worries. But I want you to check in and pay attention to what feels appropriate for you. For me, I found it very helpful that like one of our our teachers felt like a drill sergeant. He literally would come by and I'm notoriously one who doesn't do what I'm supposed to be doing. And so he'd walk over to me. He's like, "Are you injured?" I'd be like, "No." He's like, "So then why aren't you doing it?" It was very entertaining. I was like, okay. All right. Let's go ahead and switch to the other side. I'll come back to the purpose of that story in just a minute. Inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. And then pause here. Notice, what does it feel like to root down through your right heel, to maybe lift the left heel a little higher? Maybe you might want to start to bend your left knee and open and stack that hip. And if you do that, what's happening on your right hamstring as you do that? And then what's happening in your right shoulder? Can you keep that shoulder blade lifted away from the floor by pushing into your right hand? There you go, Roberta. Awesome sauce. Nice, Julie. Next, exhale. Draw your left knee to your nose. Plant your foot between your hands. You might bring your hands to your blocks at this point. And then we'll go ahead and spin our back foot down and bring ourselves up for Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. And then check in. How is the distance between your feet, front to back and right to left? We don't have to hurry anything. We have all the time in the world to make sure that this moment we are as present as possible. And so then you'll check in with that front foot. You'll check in with that front knee. How's the alignment there? Can you slide the outer left hip back and then root from your left? There you go, Robin. Left sit bone down into your left heel. And then maybe you'll lift that right pinky toe and root it down into the floor. And then notice how that tones the outer edge of the right calf and maybe even all the way up to your right glute. Fantastic. And then soften across your shoulders. Yeah, nice, Steve. Soften across your face. When you're ready, flip your front palm and reverse your warrior. You've got 4 breath cycles here. And I want you to notice how you can find a deeper breath, how you can find a greater sense of expansion and openness while also being fully rooted, fully grounded, fully present in what you are needing in this moment. Nice work. As you're ready, you'll inhale and come back to Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Yeah. And then on your next exhalation, cartwheel the hands down to the floor. Step yourself back to a downward facing dog pose. You might choose to cycle through or not, but we will all meet in a child's pose once you're ready. And when you find yourself in your child's pose, whatever that happens to look like, whether arms are extended forward, whether they're back behind you, whether they're in prayer shape or diamond shape or somewhere in between, just allow yourself to just be here in this moment. So I think what was helpful for me with the drill sergeant of a yoga teacher was that, he kind of just gave me permission to be present. There's so many things that can happen in life, I think, that can often distract us or rather envelop us in a way that isn't always helpful. And sometimes we just need a little bit of a reminder that this present moment is what we have and that there's always a gift in it, no matter what. All right, as you're ready, you're going to start to walk your hands back towards your hips and you're going to roll your spine up to sit. We've done that a lot, so hopefully we feel very skilled at that. Yeah, look at that. That looks nice. And then when you're ready, you're going to sit up tall and we're going to take toe squat for a moment just because, I like making you guys do that. So set yourselves up however you need to. Some of you would like and prefer to have a block underneath your sit bones if your knees don't like being that compressed. Some of you will stand on your shins, but we'll just sit here for about a couple breath cycles, maybe about a minute. As we're seated here today, I want you to bring your thumbs into your armpits and imagine that for some reason I'm pulling them forward towards the screen, up towards the sky, and back. And notice how that just allows your chest to expand. And we'll go ahead and keep that expansion and release your arms. You might bring your hands on top of your thighs, palms face up. If you'd like, you'll stack your right hand in top or on top of your left. And you can even join your thumbs together if you'd like. And then you'll just soften the gaze and close the eyes as you breathe here for a few breath cycles. And you just notice what you notice. The upper back skull, so like middle of your skull and then a little bit above that is pressing back into an imaginary wall so that your head is over your shoulders are over your hips. And you just got about 3 more breath cycles here. Whatever you happen to be experiencing is perfect, and you just see if you can be present with that. And then at the end of your third exhalation, so we'll say your next exhalation, you'll gently come forward, release the tops of the feet to the floor, have a little temper tantrum pitter-pattering the feet on the floor if you'd like. And then you might even take a counter stretch, lifting one end or both knees up and away from the floor if you'd like. Fantastic. And then we will find ourselves on a seated posture. Before we do that, though, we are going to take our blanket. Maybe it's because I spent this time with Iyengar, but they spent a lot of time with our blankets. So we're going to start with our blanket unfolded like this. And I would encourage you to fold it in thirds, however that works for you, until you have something that looks roughly like that. And then we're going to fold it again, possibly in thirds, until you have something that looks like this. And you're going to put your butt on this. It's a little bit softer than sitting in a block. And then you're going to put your butt on that. Okay. And then once you're sitting on your weird block-shaped blanket thing, we are going to take Sukhasana. And I want you to have your left shin bone in front. Left shin bone in front. And you're going to walk your feet forward so that your feet are underneath your knees. Fantastic. Okay, and this is going to be slightly awkward for some of us, so you might want to have one of your blocks somewhere nearby. I have really long arms, so this isn't too much of a struggle for me, but some of you might need to have a block nearby. Okay, so I want you to lift your left knee awkwardly up towards the sky. It's going to awkwardly come up. You are going to take your right hand to the outside edge of your left knee. You're going to take your left hand, and it's either going to grab your block and walk it back behind you, or you're going to put your hand on the floor. It depends upon how long your arms are. Now, this is going to be awkward. You're going to walk your hand away, so your left hand away from your butt until it feels like you're leaning back. Fantastic. You're still gripping that right hand around the left leg for dear life. And I want you to squeeze your left butt cheek and start to straighten your right arm by pushing your left leg away from you. And then that will help you rotate more towards the left. And so you're going to push your left knee away, grip it with the right hand, trying to straighten the right arm through the activation of your left hip leg thing. And then you might rotate more of your chest towards the left. And some of you will stay happily there. Some of you might be able to put your whole left palm on the floor. And then as the belly is rotating to the left, you might take your gaze over your right shoulder, right arm in the front. We're just trying to find this weird twist in the upper back across the belly as well. And just take 2 more breath cycles here. At the end of your next exhalation, your left hand, so that's the one behind you, is going to start to creepy crawly back towards your butt. You're going to sit back up to vertical, unwind the spine, and just take a moment to notice what you notice. How is the breath moving now? How's the spine moving now? Nice work. And we'll go ahead and try that on the other side. So look at your shins. Now your right shin bone will be crossed in front. Make sure your ankles are underneath your knees. Okay. And you're going to awkwardly lift that right knee towards the sky. Take your left hand to the outside edge of your right thigh, and you're going to really grip it. Take your right hand, and maybe you grab your block, maybe you don't, but you're going to bring it back behind you. And then you're going to start to walk your right hand back behind you. Keep gripping your left hand on your right thigh. And then when you're ready, you're going to start to kick or push your right knee towards the floor to straighten your left arm and rotate your rib cage towards the right. Nice work. And then you're going to breathe. For me, I feel this really acutely across my belly and abdomen, but I also feel it surprisingly in my upper back. So you just pay attention to where you're feeling this for you. And then some of you will continue to push that right knee to the floor and then gaze over your left shoulder, trying to be as serene with the breath as possible. Maybe serene with the face. And Jenny, you can really kick that knee to the floor to straighten that left arm. There we go. You got 1 or 2 more breath cycles here. That's fun. At the end of your next exhalation, you're going to start to creepy crawly your right hand back towards your butt. Unwind the spine and the arms and just take a moment to sit tall and see how that feels. Great. And then we're going to bring our butts off the floor and sit on the floor. So bring your butt off your blanket rather and sit on the floor. Since your right shin is still in the front, let's go ahead and open our right leg out to the right. Draw your left heel closer to your perineum. So now the top of the foot is on the floor. You still have those blocks, hopefully somewhere nearby. And then we're going to flex through the right foot, push the right heel down, push the right calf down, push the right hip down. And then some of you are just going to take your blocks and start to hinge forward at your hips. We're looking for a stretch along the inside edge, so the adductors of your right leg. And some of you will walk all the way forward. Some of you will start to round the spine. Some of you will keep the spine pretty elongated as you're here. And you've just got 3 to 4 breath cycles here. And I want you to notice where you can start to open and soften just a bit. So that right leg's pretty active, but the left leg is not. The breath can be a little bit fuller. Nice work. At the end of your next exhalation, you'll start to walk your hands back. You'll start to walk your spine up. Move the blocks if they are in front of you. And then you're going to take that left leg and open the left leg out for Upavista for a moment. You might flex through both feet and just see what that feels like. And then we'll try all that on the other side. So let's go ahead and bend our right knee. Bring the top of the right foot to the floor. Bring the right heel pretty close to your perineum. Now check in with that left foot. Make sure it's still flexed. Push down through the heel, the back of the calf, the back of the leg. And then you'll sit up tall. And if you need to, you'll walk your blocks back in front of you and then start to hinge at the hips. And we're trying to find a nice stretch along the adductor, the inner muscles of the left leg. And some of you will stay here and just breathe. Some of you will continue to walk your hands forward. But we're staying active in that left leg and we're noticing how the breath is moving. Nice work. And you've got about 2 more breath cycles here. Continue to notice where you can soften and release. There you go, Jenny. Yeah. The end of your next exhalation, start to walk the hands back. Walk the spine up to vertical and go ahead and remove the blocks. Last time, let's go ahead and extend the right leg out to the right for a moment for Upavista, and you'll just feel what that feels like. Both legs are active, both feet pressed down. Great. Cool. Now we're going to slightly bend our knees, bring our hands underneath our knees, and then walk our feet together. Cool. And then we are going to sit once again on top of our blanket just for a moment. And this time you can sit in Siddhasana. So the first one that we did was Sukhasana or Svadhisthana, depending upon which school of lineage you're in. But for Siddhasana, your feet, both the tops of the feet are on the floor like they were when we were doing Ardha Upavista Konasana. So you just sit tall. And then I want you to, again, bring your thumbs to your inner armpits to lift them up, roll them back, or roll your shoulder blades down the back, and let the palms face up. And then from here, you can go ahead and soften the gaze or close the eyes. And we're just going to take about 3 to 5 breath cycles here. And with every exhalation, I just want you to focus on the exhalation. And every inhalation just happens, but your awareness is on the exhale. And whenever you notice that a thought comes up, that's okay. And just notice that the thought came up and just return back to the exhale. You'll stay here for just a couple more breath cycles on your own. Just really paying attention to the exhale. Letting it be as effortless as possible. Nice. So we will come back to that in a bit. But in the meantime, if your eyes are closed, go ahead and open your eyes. You're going to make your way onto your back. When you find yourself on your back, if you need to cover your body for Shavasana, you might want to start doing that because we are going to lay down. And then when you find yourself on your back, if you're straight up ready to go to Shavasana, by all means, go there. If your body is asking you for something else, by all means, please listen to that inner wisdom and do that. So for some of you, a happy baby might feel nice. For others, a supine twist or even a supported bridge might feel nice. But you check in with you And then you allow yourself to respond to those needs. And you've got a couple minutes on your own. So if you try one thing and it doesn't quite hit your need, that's okay. You can try something else. In many respects, it seems like this process of learning to tend to care for ourselves, whether, we're mothering ourselves or fathering ourselves, it's in many respects, I think, a trial and error process. We try something, see how it works. If we like it, we do it again. If it didn't quite satisfy us, we try something else. And just as we can learn to readjust and recalibrate for other people in our lives, I think we can also do the same for ourselves. And so as you're here and you're taking your final few moments to tune into your own needs at this moment, I encourage you to come back to your breath, to notice how it's moving in the body. And then when you feel complete, please set yourself up for your final resting pose in whatever way feels best for you. So whether you cover yourself with a blanket, whether you use some of your supports, whether you put your legs up a wall or a chair, whatever you choose to do, set yourself up so that you feel fully supported, so that you do feel like you can really let go. Nice. And those of you that are still working, you keep doing you. The rest of us, when we find ourselves in that final shape, we're going to start with just breath work. So you'll take an exhale and let go of all the breath that you're holding on to. Then when you're ready, you'll inhale and take a full deep breath in. Take your time, Julie. And then exhale and let it go. And when you need to, you'll draw the breath in again, full deep breath. And then exhale and let it go. And last time, full deep breath in. And exhale, let it go. Now this time as you breathe in, you'll take a big deep breath in. At the top of your inhalation, you'll hold the breath for a few counts. And then you'll exhale and let it go. And you'll repeat that 2 more times. So full deep breath. Hold the breath at the top for a couple beats. And then exhale and let it go. And last time. Full deep breath in. Hold the breath at the top. And then exhale and let it go. Now allow your breath to return to its natural involuntary state. And to the best of your ability, we're going to borrow a meditation from Pema Chodron. So I want you to pay attention to your exhales here. And all you have to do is just watch the exhale. And as you continue to watch your exhalations, anytime you notice that your mind has started to wander, you simply say to yourself, thinking, and then as gently as possible, let that go and come back to the exhale, come back to the breath. Keep your awareness on your exhalation. Anytime you notice that you're thinking, you just call it thinking. You let it go and you come back to the breath. I'm going to leave you here with you for a few moments and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. When you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in, to notice what you notice. If there's any part of you longing to linger here, by all means, please stay here. When you are ready to move on, allow small, gentle movement to re-enter into your physical form. Those in stillness, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, you'll make your way to your right side. When you're on your right side, just take a few breath cycles there. You'll then gently roll your chest more towards the floor. Press into your left hand and walk your spine up to vertical. When you are vertical, take the opportunity to sit on a block or a blanket. And then, still with the eyes closed or the gaze soft, take the opportunity to fidget until you feel like you're really established in your seat. So if you need to remove any flesh from underneath your sit bones, do that. If you need to roll your shoulders out, do that. And then from the internal space, really root down through the hips. Feel the shoulders stack over your hips. Feel your ears align with your shoulders. Bring your awareness to your tongue and see if you can relax the tongue and the mouth, if you can relax the jaw, if you can relax the eyes. And then you'll just take a few moments to breathe here. And with every breath, you're just noticing how full of a breath you can take in, how complete of a breath you can take out. I think our ability to mother ourselves, which is just another way of saying practice self-care in a genuine way, to do the type of self-care that sometimes isn't always comfortable, like going to work out or filing your taxes or other aspects of being an adult. In order to do that well, we have to be able to connect to our sense of intuition, our own inner knowing. And part of that requires that we are comfortable with the natural ebbs and flows of life. So as you are here for these last few moments and last few breaths, I just invite you to notice which one feels a little bit easier for you. Is it the inhalation? Is it the exhalation? And wherever you feel like the other one is not as welcome or as easy, that's okay. Just notice that thought, label it as thinking, and let it go. We'll go ahead and complete our practice with a collective breath, followed by a collective Om. Bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Press the palms into each other. Receive the weight of your thumbs into your chest, and then really lift the sternum back up into the thumbs. Soften the chin, and then exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. The light, the breath, the mother within me honors and salutes the light, the breath, I guess the mother and father within each of you. Namaste.